Hey everybody! On this episode of Gaming and Collecting, me and Alex are joined by Kade from the Gaming Memories podcast to talk about the original PlayStation, going over some of our memories of the console, some general history, and some of our favorite games from back in the day. But anyways, guys, on with the episode. So, welcome to the Gaming and Collecting podcast. It's always hard to do my intros when we have guests because I never know what to say. But for this episode, we have a first-time guest, but actually a podcaster we've known in the community pretty much since the start. We have a Kade from Gaming Memories. How you doing, Kade?
Good. How are you?
It's been great. It's been a hot minute since we've chatted. I think the last time you talked to both of us was when we were both on Gaming Memories way back when.
That's a long time ago.
I think
we should have you guys back on. I actually have an audience now, so maybe it might be useful for you to come on.
I mean, you've had some really great guests on lately. Like you had Dave Jackson, friend of the show.
I had Dave, and then I think I don't know if the Eric from Unlockables is out yet. I think it's out, but that one is done. Sure.
You also had Matt Storm, really
Matt
great person.
Storm, yeah. I got to get more of the other podcasters are much easier because they just know how to do the thing, and yeah.
If you ever need someone, I can probably rope my co-host Thorak from 3DO, and we can do the 3DO thing.
We should do a 3DO one. One of the episodes you guys were on so early, there was just not a lot of people, but you were on later, Bill, for the Generations 2.
Yes,
I believe. And I still get like comments and messages about that one. So I need to do more. You guys are on like episode 200 and something, and you're 5 years in. I'm like 7 years in on episode like 50. So there's a big discrepancy on the amount of content you put out versus I put out. But it is what it is.
I'm like a psycho who does 3 of these a week.
Yeah.
So, it's been pretty good. We've all been going through life. Me and Alex saw Superman last night.
Is that out?
It came out Thursday. This was opening weekend.
And yay or nay?
I thought it was excellent.
I thought it was really good. The guy next to me fell asleep. But
previews,
I thought it was good.
The previews did not leave me feeling confident, but sometimes the previews are wrong.
It was the most fun I've had watching a superhero movie since Ant-Man and the Wasp. Which I say that because I didn't see Endgame in theaters. So, but it was a great time. Like they really captured the magic of what Superman is.
What do you think the magic of Superman is, in your opinion?
I don't want to spoil the movie, but we might be covering it next week. But I think it's they really captured the fact that he's just like he's an average guy. Like he's actually a human. Like he's not God, like some people like to portray him as. And they really kept it. They really kind of like brought in like the aspect of like he's not just like the big like one of the biggest problems I have with like Man of Steel was he just kind of was like he was so powerful and so like unapproachable. And this one he's literally just a guy in the city like blending in, doing basically he just wants to do the right thing.
I mean, that's what a lot of people. I'm not a huge Superman fan, but I have like some friends who are diehards, and their thing is that he just does the right thing always, no matter what. And he's like the proverbial good guy, and I think that over time, so there's so many comics. Like depends on what you're reading and what you're taking inspiration from. I do like the portraying him more of as a god because he's so powerful. It would be as if. But it's like having, but the other side is he may be godlike in his powers, but he's not ever really portrayed as godlike in the sense of he has infinite wisdom or infinite patience, or like he's a person who has to deal with the fact that he's like, I guess maybe a half god at the very least. Yeah, it's an interesting like conundrum he finds himself in. I'll have to see it. I was like cautiously like I'll see it, but I don't know, just never been like super wowed by Superman, pun intended.
No, it was just a fun movie all around. I think that was the biggest appeal. Like that we were never bored.
No, yeah,
Good.
it was very entertaining, and I mean, I'm not the hugest Superman fan. I mean, I'm not really a big superhero fan anymore, but I really enjoyed it. So,
Well, that's good. If you're not predisposed to like it and you still like, that's a good sign.
yeah.
No, it was just fun overall. Yeah. Other than that, though, like I have not been playing games a lot lately because work. Unfortunately, I play like my weekly 3DO game for the show, and I'm trying to like bounce between RPGs. Like, what was a big like the Lunar remaster came out a while back, and that was one that I've been very into. I know Alex, you're still Stardew Valleying it up, right?
And Animal Crossing, I've mostly been bouncing between the two. But I actually want to go back and replay one of the Pokemon games because I haven't done that in a while. But yeah, I've also just been really busy this week. I don't know, like this whole week or the past couple of weeks, I've been focusing on this behind me, my cosplay. But it's finally done, and I'll have it for next week. So I've been mostly focusing on that. That's been my focus because I was worried I wasn't gonna make it in time for this weekend.
What's the occasion this weekend?
Well, next weekend technically. Kineticon. It's one of our conventions that we
Nice.
go to each year. So
Are you dressing up, Bill, or just going Bill?
No.
style?
no, he won't, and I'm mad at him. He doesn't like my idea, and I think it's great.
I'm not wearing a cardboard box, Alex.
Come on. Well, so there's this show. It's called That Time.
There's an anime called it's an isekai anime called That Time I Got Reincarnated as a vending machine. Now I wander the dungeon, where the whole joke is the guy gets killed and he ends up getting reincarnated as a vending machine in a fantasy land. It sounds stupid, but it's surprising.
It sounds. Can we swear in this podcast?
Oh yeah, go for it.
Yes,
it sounds fucking awesome. It sounds super weird.
It is weirdly entertaining, like just the whole where it ends up going.
Well, it's really great, and then the best part is so the vending machine like only can say like a couple of lines to everyone in the show.
Does it use like the screen to talk?
Yeah, it's like the pre-programmed
or
the
pre-programmed phrases, and one of the things is it just goes hello there, and Bill sounds like exactly like it. So I thought he could just wear a box and be the vending machine and just throw water bottles at people or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good idea, but you've been to cons, right? They're crowded, they're hot. Wearing a box is just a recipe for a bad time.
I also don't want to be that guy trying to walk through the crowds with a fucking box. Like,
Bill, there was a guy walking in a trash can.
I'm aware, but he was still kind of in the way when he was.
No, he was great.
And he was great, but I bet his personal comfort and enjoyment dropped by at least 35%.
I never saw him not smiling. I never saw him not smiling.
Well, my favorite cosplays are like the guys that are in these immovable, like giant metal frames, and they just kind of stand there for the entire convention. I'm like, that's fun.
Yeah. Some of those, yeah. Did you back in the day, I think when you were on around a similar time, I had Side Project on, and they've gone like fully into cosplays, like their niche. I don't know if you talked to him, but guys should get on his podcast or swap or something.
I remember him popping. So it has been a while. Like I've kind of fallen out of the Instagram area, like as of late, and we've kind of moved into the big podcasting sphere on Discord. Because I was actually going to bring up, like, I've seen your channel on Instagram's blown up. Like as of late.
Yeah, it's done really, really well. I'm like the opposite. I have like just a couple buddies in my Discord. Haven't really pushed it much. I just don't have time to like manage a Discord. But yeah, social media is done really, really well. I'm trying to focus a little bit more on YouTube just because it's the most valuable place to have subscribers. It's starting to get nice. Like people send me free shit, and
really nice.
It's like starting to, maybe turn into something. So we'll see.
Awesome.
Yeah, because I know like we actually joined I'll do a little shout out. We joined a network. We're part of the Superpod network, which is a big group of podcasters all in the podcasting sphere. and we kind of hang out in their circle now. But we've met so many collabs and stuff. I don't know if you've seen like the guys from Super Pod Saga popping around.
Super Pod Saga?
Yes.
Yes, I have seen that.
Yeah. Aaron's technically the one that started the network, and we all kind of we joke and say he's the boss man.
Yes.
Okay.
He's a very good. He'd actually be a really good person to have on your show at some point as well. Him and his co-host Jerry.
Nice. Link it up. I'll do it.
Yeah, I'll send you an invite over to that server, and you could find all the guys over there. I'll send you the link to the website as well.
Sweet.
But yeah, it's no, it's been cool though. I remember like we first met way back in 20, right when COVID started, so like 2020. Because I remember you had like followed my Instagram back when I was doing the full Instagram thing. And I think we chatted a few times before you had invited me on the show.
I'm pretty sure it's just because you posted some really good tasty games, like deep cuts, and I was like, this guy has good taste. Like I gotta talk to this guy.
I always laugh when I go back to that episode because I was using a really bad USB mic.
I remember that. Yeah.
It sounded terrible, and I'm like, oh man. The massive regret. But
you were just starting out, okay?
I'd never done a podcast.
You had never done, yeah. So you can't be that cringe.
Oh, I forgot you didn't have a podcast yet. Yeah.
No, I was just just a guy on Instagram that like a couple people knew. Because Instagram has kind of killed the retro collectors now because of reels. So it's like we can't get engagement anymore.
Unless you make reels.
You're right. Like I used to get a ton of that content. I don't get a lot of, I still get a lot of collector stuff because I'm following them and I engage with it. But as far as new collector stuff that pops up on my search feed, like, yeah, you're right. I don't see a lot of it.
Nah, like I used to average like 1,000 likes per photo, and it's like I'm down to like 50 if I'm lucky these days. That's why I've cut back. I post like once a day at most. But yeah, other than that though, not much has been going on. Any projects you've been working on, Kade? Or
oh, dude, there's so much. I mean, I've like the channel's moved more to social media content than podcasts, which is why I only have like 50 something episodes. I have a big backlog. I try to put them out occasionally. Just lots of creating content. I really like video games, and turns out making content around video games is just endlessly fun. So when I have time between work and kids, I try to crank out some content and just keep chucking away. And maybe one day I'll have more time to spend on it. We'll see.
Nice. I love seeing the little reels you post every now and then with like the you'll post like a PS1 era game and it'll just do that like cleanup thing.
Yeah.
Like that's cool to
definitely
watch.
Do the best. Yeah.
Nice. But Alex, do you have any things to add before we go into the main topic? Or
I mean, I don't know. Have you been watching anything? It's usually what we go over.
Do you want to do your running joke?
I mean, yes, but
okay.
Well, first, what are you drinking, Bill?
Okay, so we have this running joke now where every week Alex wants to know what I'm drinking.
Yes,
and because it's a weekend.
Is the music playing?
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
There's your music.
You can't say your facts without it.
I'm drinking, because it's the summer and it's a weekend, I'm drinking a Leinenkugel Summer Shandy, summer beer.
Wow.
And if you really want a fact, they don't include any facts on these goddamn things.
I don't know. Read like the fluid ounces or something. It's
4.2% alcohol. There you go.
Thank you. That's a great fact.
Now share your thing so you can.
Well, no, aren't you going to ask me what I'm drinking?
You're drinking probably soda from a sippy cup.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Ask me what I'm drinking.
What are you drinking, Alex?
Today, I am drinking a Down East.
Oh, she's actually drinking for once.
Unfiltered craft cider. It's Saturday. It's fine. I'm drinking that. I can give a fact. I also don't have. Oh, look at that. Nutritional facts on mine because cider is better. I'll just give one. It's 184 calories per can.
Right.
But anyways, for those who care,
this is her new thing.
This is my new segment. I found this cookbook on a bike ride from one of those little mini libraries, and it is the Philadelphia Cream Cheese Cookbook from the 1980s.
She literally picked this up off the side of the road while biking one day.
Well, I know those people put out those like little things with free books. You can take them. Yeah, they're cool.
Just look, a great book of great recipes.
Just like Alex's logic of like cookbook, mine.
Well, it just was dumb. But anyways, this week's recipe is a wonderful concoction of lemon egg soup. Does that sound yummy?
You don't have to say yes.
It consists of a 4 ounce can of condensed chicken broth, a cup of rice, 2 eggs, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, a half teaspoon of grated lemon rind, and of course, 1 package of Philadelphia cream cheese.
I'd
Yummy.
eat it. 100% I'd eat it.
You'd eat it?
Yeah.
I told Alex if she actually makes one of these things and streams her making it, I will eat it.
The only thing I don't like is the cream cheese. Everything else, I'm like, yeah.
So every recipe in here includes like a block of cream cheese.
It includes at least 1 block of cream cheese.
Well, it depends on how cheesy that is. Could be good.
It could be. Some of the other stuff we've gone over is majestic spinach salad, frothy lime pear mold.
And these all have cream cheese in them.
Yes.
Every single recipe has at least 1 block of cream cheese in it. Yeah, I think one was like a weird, like long loaf sandwich, which with a whole block of cream cheese in it.
Well, it's a long loaf. You need the cheese.
Yeah. So that's the lemon egg soup. Usually I would read the instructions to make it, but I don't want to put you through that. So if people want to find out, they can Google it. Or they can watch my cooking live stream eventually.
I would actually try it if you did that.
You should do that.
Should I do it?
100% you should do it. If that's your thing and it's been a running joke, you should do a cooking live stream.
It's just funny because
have your listeners vote on out of all the recipes, which one is the most absurd, and then you do that one.
It's from 1987.
So neither of us were alive.
Nope. Neither of us were alive when this book came out.
I was 3.
Yeah.
No.
2. No, I was 2. Yeah. I'm good at math, apparently.
No, it's Saturday. What are you drinking?
This is an interesting concoction. This is my green cup. It is mushroom coffee, so it's like a bunch of mushroom stuff in Arabic coffee mixed with. This is I don't know if it's local. It's local only. So in Utah, there's a bunch of Mormons, and you can't really drink coffee as a Mormon.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's like all these like alternative coffee products and gas stations and stuff. I don't know what this one is. It's called Perk. It tastes like coffee. It's basically coffee for Mormons, and it's got like collagen and protein. I mix the two. Makes the coffee not as bitter. Okay. I drink coffee, but I also get some of the Mormons love their sugar. You'll know that if you ever came to Utah, there's like these sugar shacks like every corner selling drinks and sugar cookies, and just a weird cultural thing. So yeah, I'm living amongst the people and drinking one of their drinks. It's good.
Nice.
So for this episode, the whole idea behind this one was I realized we were coming up on our 5-year anniversary, and one of our earliest episodes that we had I thought was the one we really back in the day we joked saying it was the one that we really kind of found ourselves with, but we actually watched it for an episode of the show, and we realized we were incredibly boring the entire time, which was funny. But it was the one talking about the original PlayStation from back in the day, and I realized we had never really done a full-on PlayStation retrospective, an official one. So I figured now is probably the time, and if we were going to bring anyone on, I was going to bring on the guy whose podcast was themed around it slightly.
My whole brand is around PlayStation 1. Yeah, it's the best of the best, and we'll hopefully convince everyone that's the truth.
I mean, I won't lie. I'm the weirdo who likes the 3DO more than normal, but I will say, if I was gonna pick one PlayStation, can't talk. If I was gonna pick one console, if I had like the Desert Island question, I had to pick one console to be stuck with. It would probably be the original PlayStation, just because it has. I still think one of the most diverse libraries in video game history, and just they were doing so many unique things at that time.
I can't think of a library that's more diverse, especially if on the desert island you're allowed imports or you have a region free, then it's for sure the most diverse library.
Yeah, no, by far. And I think before like me and Alex give our story, I'd like you to give your thoughts. Like, how did you get into PlayStation back in the day, and like what were your thoughts on it initially?
I was already very much into video games. Love at first sight video games. I never saw a 2600. It was sort of phased out. I was born in 85. So the first thing I remember seeing is the Nintendo, which I think if I were to make an argument on the second most important console, I would probably say it's the NES. And it just depends on how you define importance. So we'll get into that. So, but by the time the PlayStation came out, I had a Genesis. I had friends with a Super Nintendo. I was very, very, very into video games. I got it pretty early on. Luckily, I don't know. It was expensive. I don't remember the launch price, but I think it was $4.99.
I believe it was. So actually, I believe it was famously $2.99. And because I remember the famous.
Was it?
Because famously at the first E3, they famously embarrassed Sega. The Saturn was $3.99, and the Sony spokesperson famously got on the stage and said $2.99 and just walked off the stage.
You are right. I totally forgot. That is a super famous moment. Just that in $2.99 was a lot of money back then.
Yeah, no, but nowadays it would definitely be like probably almost $500.
Yeah, I just remember thinking it was absolutely impossible that I was going to get one. There's no way. I saw Battle Arena Toshinden or Toshiden, depending on how you want to pronounce it, at a demo unit at a Blockbuster, and it was the arcade 3D experience at home, and it was just like that. I used to have to go to the arcade for this. I saw the early demo disc where you had the T-Rex or the whale in the water, and all you could do was turn the camera.
Yeah.
But I ended up getting one, and all I had was the demo disc to begin with. I didn't have a game, and dude, the hours I put in on that demo disc. It had Jumping Flash. It had a few original X games, which was like 2D digitized graphics. WW Wrestling, which was like a 2D arcade game, digitized graphics. Anyway, super fond, and it ended up becoming, like we talked about, a console that lasted a long time. Very basically the opposite of the PlayStation 5 is the PlayStation 1. It lasted forever and had a bajillion games for every genre. A bunch of genres were either birthed or maybe found themselves, like survival horror. You have Alone in the Dark and games prior to Resident Evil, but modern survival horror, the genre as we know it, you could kind of say got its legs on the PS1. Weird games like one you brought up last time we talked is Kodelka that I since dove into. Like just that game there's no other console that game in timing and money like that game could have ever existed. It's just, like I didn't know what I was getting into. I was just like, oh, I'm getting like the new Super Nintendo, the new Genesis. Little did I know that it was going to like take me from a gamer to, I'm 40 years old making gaming content, right? Like this is the console that I was already way into it, but it became like almost like a religious figure in my development. Like it's just that important. There's all the timing, right? I've talked about this a lot on the past. I think the ages between like 11 to 15, whatever is the thing for you at that time, I don't know, that's like the magic time, and it hit me right during those ages. So
nice. Yeah, for me and Alex, it was a little bit different. So our first like real gaming devices where we had Game Boy Colors back in the day.
Yes.
Our dad, on the other hand, had a PlayStation, and it was kind of like the thing where we would just kind of see it in the background with whatever he was playing at the time. Usually like a lot of Need for Speed, Ace Combat, or Air Combat as it was called. Battle Stations, which was this bizarre like battleship game that EA put out. Grand Theft Auto 1, which was really funny in hindsight.
Yeah.
All sorts of bizarre games. Tiny Tank, that's where
Dude, you are the only person I've ever talked to that even knows what Tiny Tank is.
I swear I've been spreading it to other people because now suddenly I'm like meeting people who are like, "Oh yeah, Tiny Tank." Like,
I bring that game up all the time. They're like, "What?" I'm like, "It was like this, like
little tiny tank,
like a tiny tank that had attitude and talked shit and
yeah,
and a
like,
cowboy hat."
Yeah.
I love that game, but yeah. So we kind of like would watch in the distance, and when the PS2 eventually came out, then it was like it kind of reached that point where our parents decided, okay, they can have a video game console. And by that point, when the PS2 was out, PS1s were like the prices were like halved, and like it was basically like they were a lot easier to get. So we had famously gotten for Christmas of 2001, I want to say, around there. We got this little guy.
Oh, you got the one, yeah.
The PS1.
Yeah.
It didn't have the screen at the time. I got this later.
Oh, okay.
It's fun because you can tell I had it as a child because there is crayon on it, which is lovely. Also, like you can actually see like the sun like fade mark from where the screen has been closed for so long.
That's
which
so
is really
funny.
But,
also, look at the screen. Take a look at how tiny the screen is now compared to. This was incredible for when we first had it.
We'll get into this thing later, but this is one of the coolest things in gaming that like was never done again. Just like ever. But we had the PS1. I remember we had shared it back in the day, me and Alex. And our game library was pretty
hand-me-downs from our father.
A lot of hand-me-downs, licensed crap, which to be fair is really fun to go back to.
Yes.
Crash Bandicoot 3. And then my big game was Final Fantasy 8, which I've mentioned in the past a few times, which is 100% because I screwed up a Roman numeral. I got 8 instead of 7.
Which I'm kind of glad. I feel like you should play 8 before 7.
Well, honestly, the thing about playing 8 first was like I have massive nostalgia for 8. Like I'm not blind. Like I know the game's extremely flawed and has its problems.
Wait, did you guys know? I just remembered this. Oh my God, I just remembered this. All of us were like childhood friends in the same orphanage growing up. Do you guys not remember that? For some reason, like, dude, we all grew up together. I just remembered that. Yeah. Weird. So weird. Huh.
Where's the cowboy who just knows that he's been hiding it the whole time?
That's like the most awkward storytelling transition, I think, in JR, at least in the PS1 era. There's some clunky story stuff in other places, but even as a kid, I remember being like, what?
Like I think my favorite part too is it's like, oh, you know the sorceress you've been trying to kill the entire process of the game? Oh yeah, that's like basically your mother, by the way.
Yeah. And she's controlling. Yeah, it's messed up. But sorry to cut you off. I have massive nostalgia for 8 too, and I replayed it a couple times for the podcast. We did. Were you on the Final Fantasy? I think it was just Chris. I had you on for Chris. I think I had you on one of them. Anyway, we've talked about it before. 8. It's a.
I've talked about 8 a lot in the past. Like I did a.
Yeah, we don't want to do the whole episode on 8, so I'll shut up.
if you want to hear my thoughts on 8, I did an episode a year ago with Rick from Pixel Project Radio.
Oh, that should be good.
Which was basically I called it In Defense of Final Fantasy 8. And it was supposed to be my final time talking about it, but I've since signed on for a few unreleased projects that I won't get into now, but look out for in the future. But what I was going to say originally with 8 though was I think the fact that I played 8 first as my first RPG kind of is the reason why I have such a high tolerance for like very complicated and confusing RPGs these days.
I can see that. The GF system was I ruined my game the first time I played it. I had to start all over.
It's very easy to do.
Yeah. So yep. That's not you could very strongly make the argument that it's just terrible design. But that's one of the reasons I like the game so much. It's just a odd system. It's unique.
So, Alex, what were some of the early games you remember?
Well, I know I was a really big fan of Crash Bandicoot, especially the Coco levels. I had mastered those, and I could speed run them as a kid. And everything else was not as great in Crash, but those levels, those were my shit. That was my game. And then we also had a lot. I feel like I played more of the licensed stuff, like Tigger's Honey Hunt. That one was a famous one.
I hate the name of that name.
It's just
so much.
He's the little
yeah, but as somebody
guy.
who mumbles and messes up their speaking at times,
well,
I hate saying that name.
I enunciated it, so you didn't have to say it. That one was a class, and that was actually really fun. When you go back and play it, that was really fun.
It is an excellent side-scrolling platformer for 8-year-olds.
Yeah, it was really fun for kids. But I believe those two were some of my biggest ones, especially, and just Tiny Tank. I mean, who doesn't love a little Tiny Tank with the cowboy hat?
A Tiny Tank that shit talks you the entire time he plays.
Yes.
That was during the time when you had all these edgy 90s mascots, right? That was sort of the hype thing. Yeah. I love that you guys brought up Tiny Tank. I bring it up all the time. No one talks about it. And you had it from your dad, hand me down?
It was a game that he had, and then we kind of just inherited it over time.
I feel like most of them we ended up just inheriting, because he doesn't even play video games anymore at this point. Maybe phone apps, but other than that, I don't think he plays video games.
I have no idea. I think he might pull the PlayStation out and play Gran Turismo every now and then, but
oh really?
Yeah.
Well, I know we also played a lot of racing games together too.
Well, one of the biggest ones from our childhood was Hot Wheels Turbo Racing.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm familiar with that one. Let me look it up. I had never seen Tigger's Honey Hunt either. People should, if you don't know that, it looks actually pretty interesting.
It's like a Metroidvania. It's like a very linear Metroidvania, if that makes sense. But Hot Wheels Turbo Racing, that was a Mario Kart-esque style racer where it was all the early gen Hot Wheels cars. And it had standard levels, but I always remember the opening music for that game is Fueled by Metallica. Just blasting. You could get all these crazy power-ups, do these boosts and stuff, jumping around. And I always remember because the cars were super goofy. You could find hidden cars throughout the levels, they'd be hidden in small places. So there's kind of exploration.
It actually looks interesting. I've thought about doing some episodes just on PS1, true hidden gems. I don't know if this would be considered a hidden gem, but I've never heard of it.
Muppets Racing.
There's a Muppets Racing?
Muppets
That
Race
was
Mania.
another game we played as kids, and it was so fun.
It's a surprisingly competent racer.
Oh my goodness.
It's so bizarre though, because they had they would intersplice all the levels were based off of movies from that era, I think the Christmas Carol one, Treasure Island, In Space. They would intersplice full motion video cutscenes from each one at the time. And there was exploration levels and weird side scrolling puzzle levels. It's a surprisingly
and
complex...
Kermit was in it. Who wouldn't want to play that?
The loading screen is the greatest thing ever because it's literally Beaker's head and it just keeps stretching upward along the side of the screen.
Yeah, I'm just watching clips of it. I see the cover. I did see that cover. I see the cover. And I'm oh, I have a small memory of that, but I just wouldn't have been interested in licensed games at that time. I was a little bit older than you guys. And there was definitely this sense of the PS1 had this, I'm cooler. I'm for old teenagers, right? We still have kid games though, but if the teenager stuff's over here, so
hey,
go to Blockbuster.
We're good. You missed
that.
out.
I'd be like, that's for kids. This looks like I missed a good kart racer. Yeah, the footage looks awesome.
Another one that's really good, but it's kind of obscure is NASCAR Rumble. And NASCAR Rumble is kind of crazy because it's essentially a kart racer where the NASCARs break off of the track and then you just race through these kart racing style levels. and you get like power-ups and you can shoot like tornadoes and shit.
I'm waiting for an ad. It looks like the graphics looked on the thumbnail. Dude, it looks pretty good for a PS1 game.
PS1 had some surprisingly really good late gen racers.
Yeah, this looks really good. Dang. Yeah, I should do a collab like video or something. You just feed me all this obscure ones and we'll do something.
We're giving you more content.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for the most part, I'd say my and most of what I played on the PlayStation was probably Crash Bandicoot and licensed games that were actually pretty good.
Do you guys do
Or just
Hercules?
watching Bill.
I don't think we had Hercules back in the day.
Did.
We had that Rugrats in Paris game.
That one I remember. Yes.
I always remembered that one because we would do the mini golf and then Alex would be infuriated by the mini golf.
Yes.
The PS1 was also like our famous era of Alex throwing the controller.
Hey, I was a child. I was a very young child.
At the licensed games, were those the ones pissing you off?
Yes.
Basically anytime she would lose.
I also think too, like I didn't find my groove of like what games that I really enjoy playing until college. Like I don't think I really figured out what I liked until then. I was kind of just trying stuff because Bill had it. But truthfully, my style of gameplay is a more Stardew Valley, Animal Crossing, relaxing, play as I go kind of style versus or like an RPG. Like that's my shit. The other stuff I don't think it ever really clicked with me.
Like she would have loved Harvest Moon Back to Nature probably.
Oh, yes.
Which is
what are there any cozy games like that on the PS1? We're talking about how was there something that far back on the PS1?
I know Harvest Moon
was
definitely. Let me think, because I can bring up my shout out to Game Eye, a very fun app.
Yeah, Harvest Moon Back to Nature. I thought when you said it, I thought that was there's a Harvest Moon 64. Yeah, this one is pretty cozy. I didn't play it, but I've heard. I know the genre.
Looking through, I don't know if I have many of them.
There's not even a YouTube video for it, so maybe cozy games on PS1 doesn't exist.
Farming games on PS1.
Well, I think
it's just Harvest Moon.
Harvest Moon was really the poster boy for farming games back in the day.
And Monster Farm.
Oh, Monster Rancher. That was a series.
I think, yeah.
I do remember Monster Rancher.
Monster Rancher was like kind of cool because it was like it was like Pokemon, like a Pokemon-esque RPG, but like the gimmick was you would put in music CDs and you would like generate random like monsters from like whatever CD you put in.
I did not know that.
It was a really weird gimmick, but like it was kind of cool for the time. And if you're like have a big CD collection, you could probably create some weird abominations.
Oh, interesting.
So like it would like use the WAV file to start a seed for a like randomly generate a monster or something.
Yes, something like that. It wasn't massively like advanced because it was only a PlayStation at the time, but it could do some pretty cool stuff. I know the first two came out on the system. There wasn't a ton of super cozy games. We had a lot more like puzzlers and like I know the two main genres on PlayStation were like platformers and RPGs.
Yeah.
Like they pretty much dominated the systems.
And I feel like at the time the RPGs were just a little too over my head for how old I was. I just don't think I could have got into it at the time.
I love a PlayStation RPG, but I will admit a lot of them are very slow to play these days.
Very slow. That's why you got to emulate it, dude. You got speed toggle on your just a little bit faster, a little bit slower whenever you want. It's the best.
I mean, that's why when I play Final Fantasy VIII these days, I always play the remastered version on a Switch or PC.
That's exactly why they created those quality of life improvements, because the games are very. And then you add the loading times in, depending on the RPGs, plus just the pace. And like I tried to play non-modded emulated Legend of Dragoon recently because of a Retro Hangover episode I listened to, and oh my goodness, it's just like I was in tar being dragged by like quicksand. Just so hurry, so slow.
Yeah. Oh, back in the day. Yeah, because even like the load times were always like the big thing that you would always run into with them. Like anytime you transfer from battle to
Yes.
regular combat, even in platformers, going from level to level, you'd occasionally run into stuff like that. Because I know like one game that was like super impressive for the time. It hasn't aged well, but Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver.
I feel like it's aged well, but
It's
I don't know.
The combat's a little janky in my opinion.
Oh, I thought you just meant visually. Sorry, no.
Oh no. Visually, I think for PS1, I think it looks great still. Combat wise, it's a little janky. I love the way that game handles load times though. Because it kind of, once you get into the main world in that game, it's like there are no load times because they were really cleverly hidden. Although you do notice, you're like, this is a strangely long hallway.
Yes, but that's the first time that, again, I don't think that a lot of these techniques and things that are, or genres that are in the PS1's library are truly the first of their kind. But I think a lot of them got their legs, and that would be one of them. I don't think it's the first time that someone has hit load times through a hallway. Probably, I bet if you did you might know. Maybe you know something off the top of your head because you know gaming history. But it's the first time I experienced that. I didn't even really notice it till later, and I was like, "Wait a minute, this game has no load times." Well, how did? And I just thought that it had no load times. It didn't make sense to me. I didn't even understand that they were being hid like through a hallway, and it was loading while I was in the hallway or something like that. It not till much later in my life, and I think that it gets kudos for that a lot. But I don't know. Is there a game that did it before then?
Technically, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, sort of.
But it had loading on the top of the screen. You knew that was a loading screen.
Yeah. They kind of like did those loading rooms where it'd be like
Yes.
the room that loads. They weren't as cleverly hidden.
I guess Namco did like the Space Invaders stuff for Ridge Racer. You got to play another game while it was loading too.
Oh, speaking of Namco, that was a game that me and Alex played a lot. The original Namco Museum.
That's a good one. A lot of good games on that.
Do you remember that one, Alex?
Oh wait, is that the one that it was just like an arcade of a bunch of different games?
It was
like
a compilation.
Pac-Man, Paperboy. Yep. Okay, yes. The museum was throwing me off.
Well, that was the cool thing about those games is like you could walk around the museum and see all like the different exhibits and stuff on the walls, and like, I mean, as children, we had no idea what any of that shit was. We were just like,
this is cool.
It was like, how do you get to the game?
Like, hurry up. I want to play.
Because I remember that was like the era of all those like weird arcade collections and stuff. Like, particularly, I know we had like the Midway arcade collection as well, like with Paperboy, Marble Madness, Gauntlet, teaching us the wonderful lessons of do not shoot food from back in the day. So fun PlayStation story with me and Alex. Because we were kids, we only had 2 controllers, and because controllers were expensive, our parents had to buy us a cheaper controller for the second controller, which was one of the Mad Catz controllers. And I always remember my childhood brain thought the Mad Catz controller was the better controller.
Because it looked red cooler.
Because it was red and it had the turbo button that didn't work half the time. And it had like these rubber grips and stuff. It was a really funny thing, but I remember in hindsight, I'm like, that was a terrible controller. And I would always give Alex the much superior like DualShock 1.
Yes.
Which she would then throw against the wall.
I was 5 or whatever. I was a child. Leave me alone.
What were some other games that you remember a lot from back in the day, Kade?
Well, I do have a story. It's obviously Final Fantasy VII was a big game. It's like probably the most, other than maybe Gran Turismo. Like, what other game is bigger footprint on PS1?
7 for its impact, but I think Gran Turismo
sold more, like, probably, right?
That I believe it's either Turismo 1 or 2 is the best selling game on the system. I think it was Turismo 1.
But 7 definitely culturally, yeah, it's like this landmark game, and very excited for it. Followed it all the way up the what would you call it, like the media hype cycle at the time, like magazines, interviews. Pre-ordered the game, picked it up at the local Babbage's, came home, started playing it, but my PS1 had been pretty worn by then, or maybe I had a faulty laser, or I scratched the disc somehow. And speaking of loading times, one of the scariest things about the PS1 experience is usually if there was a problem, it would happen in the loading, right? While it's loading, reading the disc. And so you just kind of never knew. And I did run into, I had like a disc doctor, and I was always like trying to clean and fix my discs. And the various FMV sequences, or maybe you call them CGI sequences in Final Fantasy VII, it would freeze up and lock, which was terrible because back at that time, those were some of like the moments you were playing the game for, is when it would break and go to these computer generated sequences that for at the time were like mind blowing visually. And then it would, so it's like, I'm getting rewarded. I got past this. I beat the boss. Now I get a cutscene. Boom, frozen. And then he's got to reload it, start from the last save. Everything's slow, play it all. And I remember wanting to get through that game so bad. And I was pretty young. I don't know what year. What, 99? 97?
96, actually, I think.
96. So I would have been 9 or 10. Yeah, because I got it launch. 9 or 10. And I remember just literally praying to God so that my PlayStation 1 would work, so I could finish this cutscene in Final Fantasy VII, saying things like, I'll do all my chores. I'll stop being mean to my brother. Like, please just let this cutscene load.
I always remember too, like the trick with like the original PlayStation you would have to do is like you would flip it over. Yeah. And that would cause the laser to sink down so it would read again.
Lots of tricks, opening, swapping disc, and then like putting it back in and forcing it to reload. But I mean, I look at it as fond memories now, but that was a problem. It's like jumping to CD media. The CDs get scratched. The lasers were not great. The durability. Actually, though, all in all, PS1s I felt were, when I pick mine up now and grab it from my like collector's little box, it feels pretty flimsy to me in hindsight. But it didn't feel like a flimsy, cheap thing as a kid. I'd have to like compare it to other ones. I don't know if they were all like that or not.
I mean, this guy's still pretty solid.
That looks more solid than the original PlayStation 1. It looks higher quality.
It's also heavy as shit, but I think that might have to do with the screen.
I think the lobby is the screen.
Yeah. Because I had the original PS1 just in a little bucket right here. And when I pick it up, move around, I'm like, this feels so cheap. But, at the time, it just didn't, I guess, I just didn't know the difference.
Because I have this one down here because I'm actually planning on using it to stream at some point in the future. But I have an original PS1 up in the game room, and I bought that one specifically because it had the parallel port on the back. Because I wanted to use I have a Goldfinger plugged into it just to play import games. And in playing imports on the original PlayStation without like modding the system is such a weird like endeavor sometimes. Like you have to with the way the Goldfinger works is there's like a little sensor inside the disc tray that indicates whether the door's open or not. You have to like jam that downward so it always thinks the door is shut.
Yes. And
because the Goldfingers used to come with a spring, mine didn't, so I had to use like tape and just kind of force it down. The things you do for gaming.
Yep.
And the way it would work is you'd put the game in, and it would start. Well, you'd start up the system without a game. It would get to the Goldfinger screen. You'd put in a regular PS1 game, like an import or something, like a non-import. Get to the point where it stops spinning. Take that disc out, put the import in, close the tray, and hit start, and it would, like, 9 out of 10 times would work. Sometimes it would be like you'd have to use another game because for some reason that game didn't work. Like, it was just like the biggest hassle just to play some stupid Inuyasha game that never came out over here.
I thought you can't even understand what it says.
I thought in the very beginning, wasn't there a period of time where early PlayStations were region free, and then they backed off on that?
I don't believe so. I know.
I swear that was the case. Let me find out.
I know the Net Eurosi was region free. Because for those who don't know, the Net Eurosi is like one of the coolest things Sony ever did that was never revisited again. They essentially stole the dev kit for the original PlayStation, and it was like this cool like matte black PS1 that had like it was like completely region free, had all of these like additional ports and stuff, and it came with like development software, and it was essentially like you could make your own games.
Oh.
It was like $1,000 back in the day, I believe. Like it was like insane.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But like
I confused. So I read that it was region free, but it was because of that hack. Early ones had that swap hack trick. Yeah, and that's what that was referring to. But it wasn't intentional. For some reason, when I read it initially, I thought that was intentional. But nope, just the swap hack trick.
Yeah, because the PlayStation models were weird. Like they had the original ones had that parallel port that did nothing. And all the cheat softwares and like all those like add-ons were kind of sneaking in through the back through the parallel port. So then they got rid of the parallel port on later models. And then they just kind of decided, oh, we can just go in through the memory card slot instead. You can never stop the cheat software companies like Game Shark and those ones.
What port did the link cable use?
That was
because I remember that I never had one, but I remember the advertisements for it.
It was like the serial port. It was this model doesn't have one because they had removed it by then, but it was like that second slot next to the AV cable. Because I remember like being like there was a bunch of games like that I wanted to play with Alex back in the day that we couldn't play because they were 2-player, but you needed to use the link cable between consoles.
Yes,
because they were trying to do that like arcade style setup.
Oh.
I remember Red Alert had it. That was like the game I remember. It was like, oh yeah, Command and Conquer. You could like both play, but you have to have 2. Yeah, you would say 2-player, then you like get it. Oh wait, I have to have another console.
Yeah,
and another game and a cable.
I think the original Jet Moto did that. Air Combat definitely did. I think Wipeout did as well.
I did not know about Wipeout.
Because I remember trying to play Wipeout with Alex, which, to be honest, in hindsight, that would have been a disaster.
Oh no!
Wipeout is
Wipeout. I always think of the TV show, and I know it's not that.
No,
I know it's not that.
That show did have games, though, which is kind of funny.
It did later on, but not for the PlayStation 1.
No, Wipeout's just an extremely fast, like racing game with like gun combat. That's way better than it needs to be.
Did we have the Harry Potter game?
Oh yeah,
I just saw that pop up.
The Sorcerer's Stone was a big one. There's a Hagrid meme that everyone.
Oh yeah, because his 3D model is horrendous.
It's horrendous. Yeah.
I looked up the top selling games because you guys were chatting about if it was Final Fantasy or Gran Turismo, and it was Gran Turismo, which was the top selling game with Final Fantasy below it. It's literally Gran Turismo, Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8, and then Gran Turismo 2.
8 is really sold that much?
I am surprised that 8 sold that much.
It might be. I also might not know Roman numerals. It might be a little bit of that too.
What's the Roman?
It can't
numeral?
Be 9 though. Either.
V11.
That's 7.
VII.
That's 7.
Yeah, and then VIII.
Yeah, that's
okay,
8.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. No, because I was gonna say like as much as
you know my Roman numerals.
As much as I love 9, I don't think 9 sold that well compared to
in hindsight, culturally, a lot of people consider that the best one of the 3 now, but it didn't. It's like grew over time. Yeah.
Well, it came out really late on the PlayStation because like they were advertising Final Fantasy X when that one was coming out because I think 10 was coming out like shortly after it.
I saw a meme that was like it was Final Fantasy 9 and 10, and it was like there's 9 months between these games or 12 months. It was some ridiculously short amount of time. There's no way. Looked it up. Sure enough. Yeah. I forgot that 10 came out that early on the PS2.
I always remember that too because the PS2 could famously play PS1 games, and I always remember like there were certain games we had that were like super scratched that like wouldn't read on an original PlayStation, but then they would somehow work on the PS2 because the PS2 just had a better laser, I guess.
Don't question it. Just
Yep,
accept
don't
it.
question it.
It's just fun stuff like that. Yeah, because I think when I think about other games, like games I missed as a kid but got back into it later, like Metal Gear obviously is like the biggest one.
That's a huge one. I mean, I'm trying to think with like you did ask me what are the games. I remember I told you the story. I want the games, excuse me, that I think there's the big ones we've touched on already, but there's some other smaller games that are surprisingly good for their genre. For example, there's a lot of good shmups on the PS1. Einhunter is my favorite one of all time.
Oh yeah.
There's another one called Philosoma. I don't know if you're familiar with Philosoma.
I don't think I've heard of that one.
It's like a mix between three. So unlike Einhunter, it's not a 3D model. You have 2D sprites, but they're in like a 3D plane, and it switches between like Star Fox style, and then it goes side style like Darius, and it goes back to Star Fox. Then it'll go top down. So you get all three like views that different shmups have done in one game. Is it as good as Einhunter? No, but the fact that like as a kid, I'm getting like three shmups in one is what it felt like. I get a side scroller, I get a top down, I get a 3D Star Fox all in one game. There was like this whole side set of CG games. There's a game called The Hive. This is like a super deep cut. Where they would have like really low res computer, like 15 frames a second, like on rails, just like CG movies, and you could click on things as they went through. There's like a whole genre of that. That genre died, probably fortunately.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of Tunnel B1?
Tunnel B1.
I bring this one up because I every time I bring this game up to people, I have to share the cover art because it is the most what the fuck thing you'll ever see in your life.
I had never heard of this, nor have I seen.
I can bring this cover up real quick because it is insane. 1 second here.
Oh goodness.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Oh, dude, this looks awesome.
What is what is this cover? Like who
this is like a David Finch psychological thriller. I'm signed up, dude. Let's go.
I went to the retro store near us and I was just looking through the PS1 games. Like I usually that's like my hobby. I like to buy the cheapest obscure PS1 games I can find. I saw this on the shelf and I took one look at it and went, "This looks fucking terrible. I need to play it." Like what is going on here? Like there's just so many questions.
It's the nose nostrils for me. Why are they so pronounced?
I just like that it's Tuttle B1, which is hilarious because the 1 second here. Yeah, this share thing doesn't work all the time. What's funny is, let's see if I can bring up the other game, the regular cover for it.
Oh god, that wasn't the regular cover.
No, that was the American cover.
Why?
The regular cover was this.
It's like a radioactive guy, yeah.
Which isn't as bad.
Much better.
But it's still kind of like, what is this game supposed to be?
Yeah, I think from neither of those covers, I could tell you what the game was about.
I like the first cover though. I never saw it. I feel like I would have tried that out. If I would have seen it. I just never ran across it. What was the other? You brought up the. I want to take some notes real quick. You brought up the two kart racers, right? There was
Muppets.
So there was Muppets Race Mania,
Muppets Racing, yes.
Hot Wheels Turbo Racing, and then NASCAR Rumble.
Throw these into my book, Barbs. Muppets Tigger's Racing.
Tigger's Honey Hunt.
Oh, Tigger's Honey Hunt.
That's a platformer, but a really good one.
Winnie the Pooh themed platformer.
Surprisingly competent one too, with full voice acting for the time.
I remembered another game that we had. Do you remember the Dance Dance Revolution one with the game mats as well?
those things were
They did not work.
No.
They did not work well.
Did you ever mess around with like one of those like Dance Dance Revolution pads?
I didn't even know there was one on the PS1.
There was. We owned it.
I still own it. I don't have the pad anymore, though. I have no idea what happened to that.
I feel like
it was like this like plastic, like almost rubber mat that you would lay down, and it would kind of emulate a Dance Dance Revolution arcade setup. It was so like it just didn't have the right feedback. And I remember like my idea after I got bored of playing Dance Dance Revolution was I was like, can I play other games with the pad? So I was trying to play racing games and platformers with it, and it did not work at all.
I also just remember every time you stepped on it, it was so loud and obnoxious because it just crinkled. And I remember getting so irritated by it while we were playing. I was like, this is so obnoxious.
It would also slip on the rug.
Yes,
it was just a bad idea all around.
I remembered that. I remembered having that.
I also loved like old full motion video games back in from this era. Like one of my all-time favorites I like to bring up is the X-Files game.
I don't know if I played that one.
It's a full motion video adventure game that takes place like in the universe, but it's like you following like just like FBI agents. But it is like one of like the dumbest. The reason I love those kind of games is just because of how stupid they can get sometimes. Like there's like points where you play as like the main FBI agent that you're playing as. And like you can just like you can click on the tape on the desk and he just puts it on his nose and just doesn't acknowledge it ever again. You can just pull your gun out on anybody in the game. And whenever you do, they just get in this deadpan look at you. They look at you and go, don't do that.
I'm going to do it again. You told me not to.
Well, no, if you do, then you get fired from the FBI and it's a non-standard game over. You can shoot yourself in a mirror and get like a suicide note like that pops up.
That's dark for.
Yeah, it is. And if you read it, it's like super dark. It's like so many weird, like goofy things. I love those old style games from back in the day.
Yeah, this is like kind of like the Hive is just instead of being early CG, it's digitized, film, whatever. I like I'm watching some of the transitions between rooms. You click it and it's actually looks pretty good, and the resolution is not as bad. I mean, it's not great, but it's better than I was expecting when you brought it up. This is interesting
because there's like one point where like you get to like a hotel that Mulder and Scully were staying at, and you can ring the bell on the desk even though the attendant's like right there, and she gets all sassy with you, and she's like, do you know how many people do this on a daily basis even though I'm right here? And then you can just ring it again, and she's like, what are you, a child? Like, stop doing this.
I was 7.
If you do it a third time, then you get arrested. You get fired. Or you can just like handcuff anybody and arrest them if you feel like it. It's just one of those games that it's like it's so stupid but like amazing.
I found one recently that I didn't play, but I was shocked. So a lot of people credit Izuna Falls as being like one of the earliest open world games ever made. That was a Japan only game. Is it Izuna or Mizurna Falls? I can't remember. It's one of those. I want to say it right for anyone who doesn't know. I think it's Mizurna. Yeah, Mizzurna Falls. And it's basically like Twin Peaks, Japanese twist on Twin Peaks. I don't even know if it was out then, but it has like Twin Peaks style. And it's credited as being, I mean, there were open world games that were like top down, but as like a full 3D open world, one of the first. But there's another one. There's a Batman Forever PS1. Is it Batman Forever? That's the Batman open world PS1. Batman and Robin PS1. Look up some footage to this. I just discovered this game like 3 days ago. I had no idea it existed.
Batman and Robin PS1. I think I actually do know this game.
It is like a full open world PS1 3D, and it looks. I don't know. I should look at what year it came out. It had to have come out late in the PS1's life because it looks like it's pushing the PS1 to the limits. It is. It looks really good for a PS1 game.
So this is one of those Batman games I do not own, but let me bring it up real quick. This game, yeah.
Well, ice cream.
Yeah, it's I'm just watching a video of someone rolling through. Now they're playing on an emulator, so it's a little bit higher res, but I'm still just like had no idea this game existed. So I don't know what the Batman and Robin PS1 release date. Batman and Robin PS1.
Oh, this game has the review scores are something.
I'm sure they're bad, probably.
Yeah, it's considered one of the worst PS1 games of all time. That's rough.
1998. Huh. I'm gonna check it out because I was just like I didn't know it existed, and
I've never played this one, so I'm actually kind of curious. I mean, if it's anything as the quality of the movie, then
I have a soft spot for that Batman. I mean, it's most people don't. Yeah. Anyway, the reason I brought it up and Missouri Falls is again like that's a genre that sort of got it. I don't know if it would say got its legs with these games because I think Grand Theft Auto 3 really made the open world game what it is. But I think these early PS1 open world games were definitely like they're for sure the precursors and the seeds were planted, and it just surprises me that people were trying to make these type of games on the PS1. I mean, and it came out in what was the release date of the PS1?
1994, I want to say.
90 Wikipedia. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
December
okay.
3rd, 1994. North America it was 95.
Last PS1 game released 2005. So, dude, that's 11 years.
Yeah.
I've noticed with PlayStation consoles, they tend to like the previous gen will last until the next gen comes out. So like with PS1, it was discontinued in 06, right around when PS3 came out. And then PS2, everyone knows that thing just refused to die.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think it finally got discontinued right around when PS4 came out. And then PS3, I believe, as well, was also right around when PS5 came out. But PS5's been out for like 4 years now and has done like nothing. So
yeah.
We'll have to see on that one.
The final licensed PS1 game is FIFA Football 2005. Soccer game.
That's like up there with like the Wii, where like the Wii was kept alive for so many years just because people kept buying Just Dance for it.
Just Dance. Would Ape Escape be considered an open world game too?
Ape Escape is more of a it's more of a linear, well, not really linear. It's more of a 3D platformer.
It had open level.
It did have open level. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a Mario 64 type game, I think.
Yeah. But like, so because you had Crash, which was more like a linear, it's 3D, but you ran down like a path. Whereas Ape Escape was open in the sense of, it was an open world. And the level design in that game was really ingenious because they made the levels bigger than they could load at one time. So the levels themselves would have these little transitions. You go under a rock, whatever, and they would load fast for the time, not fast by today's standards. And so the levels were really like open areas that were stitched together through transition screens, but they were like you could do stuff in one screen that wasn't connected and it would change stuff in the other one. This is really, really like cool. It's like half open world, I guess. I could see why you'd think that. Yeah.
It's it was also notable for the big gimmick with Ape Escape was it was to showcase the DualShock controller. Because the way the Ape Escape is such an interesting game because it uses both analog sticks for the majority of its gameplay. Like you actually, rather than camera control, you use the left analog stick to move.
right,
use the right
weapons. Yeah.
For like all your weapons and items. You jump with the R trigger, which was weird. You have like a Castlevania jump in Ape Escape where like once you start moving, you can't really adjust your movement. It's just kind of a leap of faith kind of thing. And you control the camera with the D-pad. It's a really weird setup, but it works for that game. It's basically Mario 64 if the stars had personality and ran away from you.
Yes, yeah, that's a good way to say it. Yeah, the stars. You have to like the stars themselves. There's a puzzle of finding them, and then there was also a puzzle of catching it. The monkey, which like two in one puzzles.
And they had like different. The monkeys were like different too. Like the yellow ones were like the standard ones. The pants, I should say.
Yellow pants.
The light blue pants ones were like scared, and they would just hide from you. The dark blue pants ones would like run, like they were super fast. And like later games, they have like capes for some reason.
Yeah, why not?
So the ones with the white pants were like weird. In the first game, they were like more
really smart, right?
No, they were so in the first game they were more alert. Like they would like catch on to you much quicker. But then in like the later games, they retconned it to like they were blind and like but they could hear very well, so like you could sneak up on them easily. My favorite ones were the ones with the black pants because they just had like they had like the Kamiya shades, and then they would they just rocked machine guns, but they were terrible shots. Can't
do that anymore.
Well, it's Japan. Japan does whatever they want.
Well, yeah.
And then the green ones had like fucking missiles and shit. They would just throw you. Like it was just goofy stuff like that.
Lots of cool experimentation on the console. Like I mean, just tons. And I don't know if you probably know more than I do. It seems like there was some sort of balance between how cheap it was to distribute print games and develop games, and the fact that the PS1 I think was the first console that started bringing in teenagers and adults at a higher ratio than the previous consoles. And maybe that meant there was like a bigger market, and so they were trying to find like, okay, what other things can we do, find niches, build new games, because like there's this new demographic that doesn't necessarily want to play another Mario or whatever. There's a lot of weird stuff, like especially in Japan. Like you played LSD Dream Emulator, that's like super famous.
I've played it on emulator. I've tried to find a copy of it, but I don't have that kind of money.
It's just so odd, such an odd game.
Have you ever seen LSD Dream Emulator, Alex?
I know.
So it is insane. Like the whole concept of the game is it's kind of like this open-ended just world, and you go in these like trips, and like each
LSD.
time like you see like the weirdest shit. But like if you have a bad trip, as they say, like sometimes there's like this random like just gray man that walks around, and if you run into him, the game like gets progressively more fucked up as it goes on. And like you see such weird shit. It is like I've read stories behind, like I think did I know you talk to him more than I do, Kade. Did Pat ever get a hold of that guy?
Pat
Hickey, the writer.
Oh, did I ever get a hold of him, or did he ever get a hold of the LSD guy?
Did he ever get a hold of the LSD guy?
I haven't talked to him in like probably 2 years, 3 years. He hasn't reached out. I know he was trying to. I have the PS1 Minds Behind the Games over here. I haven't finished it. I don't know if it's in there. Maybe it is. Let's Minds Behind the PS1 games.
Because I remember I haven't talked to him in forever either. I do know last time I did, he had mentioned he was trying to, but I never heard if he followed up on that.
I think he's tried to get a hold of everybody at some point. The dude's a hustler for sure. He puts the work in. I have read a couple of interviews. He did with that guy, I forget his name, did a few interviews, and it's the only game he's ever made. It was just like this one-off random thing, and it was genuinely based off dreams he was having.
Oh, wow.
So it's just this weird, it's essentially like an indie game that was out in Japan and became this weird cult classic over time. But there's other like very odd, like you have the CG games, the FMV games, you have your rail shooters, your platformers, obviously the JRPGs. But then you have like like Jumping Flash, for example.
Jumping Flash.
It's a first-person game, right? But it's also there's no other game like it before and after. It just and that's one example of I think the system to this day. Like you guys brought up a few games. I watch like hidden PS1 YouTube compilations all the time, and I'm still discovering
Finding new
games all the time.
So there's a YouTuber called Scott the Waz, and he's like one of the biggest like gaming YouTubers nowadays. But he did a whole episode talking about like the PlayStation and the N64, and he had made like a kind of like an analogy, basically saying you talk to like an N64 person from back in the day, and usually they'll give you like the top 5 games they played, and it's like 9 out of 10 times like it's usually the same games between each person. If you talk to a PlayStation owner and give them like say the 5 games they remember from their childhood, it's very likely like most of the people you ask will give you a completely different set of games, because there was so many games on the PlayStation just throughout its life.
So many weirdest games on PS1. I had a list on my phone, but my kids took my phone to play on it. That's how I'm keeping them entertained. I'm trying to see if Roll Cage. That's one I was thinking about.
Cage.
So go ahead.
This one I wanted to bring up real quick just because it's so ridiculous. A tiny screen, but this is a game called Septentrion.
Is that the Titanic?
That looks awesome as shit.
It is. I bring this up because this is actually a sequel to a Super Nintendo game called SOS. And SOS I bring up because SOS is one of the most interesting games that came out over here that nobody talks about. One second. Let me bring it up real quick because it is. We're breaking into Super Nintendo real quick here, but I want to.
As long as it's not the N64.
I know you hate the N64, Alex.
Thank you. Don't show that stuff to me. I don't want to see it.
So, there's this game. God damn, these pictures are small. There's this game called SOS for the.
Can you zoom? Control plus.
Let me see if I can find a better image. Because goddamn. So this game is like straight up. The whole concept of it is essentially the Poseidon Adventure mixed with Clock Tower, and like the whole gimmick is you're in a cruise ship that gets overturned during a storm, and you have to survive. And it's basically like you have like multiple different choices. Like you can save people along the way, or you can leave them for dead. Here's what the gameplay looks like. Like it's a side-scrolling style game from the past. And it kind of like it's choose your own adventure, basically how many people you save, who gets out
leave
first.
Them behind.
You can do that.
All for yourself.
It's a cool game I'd never heard of, but apparently it has a PS1 sequel called Septentrion. And I love this cover because they totally just stole that famous photo of the Titanic and just used it as the cover art.
Oh, they did. I didn't even realize that until you brought it up. That is the Titanic. Nice.
I'm pretty sure that's a famous painting. Apparently this game, not really good, but I did find a copy of it. Because imported PS1 games isn't super expensive these days, so I've been kind of grabbing a few here and there. And I grabbed this one. I played a bit of it. It's not great. It's very you need the PlayStation mouse to really enjoy it because it's a point and click kind of adventure game.
Oh.
It's something though. Yeah, I just felt like I needed to share that one.
Nice.
Trying to think of a few others.
I mean, the games I can go through some of the ones I remember. I played so the original Rayman before that is 3D.
Alex actually played that on the Jaguar.
Yes.
It's so is it as hard on the Jaguar? It's a hard game.
I think Rayman's just hard in general.
Rayman 1 is one of the most beautiful platformers I've ever played, but it's also like the most unforgiving.
It is, yes.
Side
It looks like a
scroller
little kid's game, but it doesn't. It's got the difficulty of a Dark Souls game. I just remember my neighbor had a bunch of long box games. Rayman 1 was a long box, and who was this Ubisoft company?
Ubisoft.
And what's crazy, one of the weirdest arcs for me is Ubisoft was a cool, hip indie developer.
And now they're being investigated for a lot of bad things.
Yeah, and then they've turned into what they've turned into. It's crazy. Like they start. I don't know if I'm pretty sure Rayman wasn't their first game, but it's the first Ubisoft game I was exposed to. And they had a totally different logo. It had like a rainbow, and they were just like this cool European. Like I remember thinking like the Rayman. It didn't have Eastern pixel art style. It didn't have American pixel art. I viewed it as like a European kind of style. It was just like very, very visually unique. I would borrow the Raiden project, which was Raiden 1, 2, and 3, or 2, 3, and something else. But I had a lot of long box games. Later, though, I started getting into kind of just like as many obscure any JRPGs I could find, which we talked about. The system has a ton. There's the big ones, the Final Fantasies, but a few that people don't talk about. Maybe Alex would like this one. There's one called Jade Cocoon that has like monster breeding and capturing, like almost like Pokemon elements. It's like a mix of Pokemon and JRPG type stuff. There's Vandal Hearts, which is like Vandal Hearts 1 and 2, or the tactics based that don't get like a ton of love. Probably the worst JRPG I played on the PS1, but I love it. The first one is Beyond the Beyond, which is absolutely
Beyond the Beyond.
Terrible. But it's interesting because it's Camelot it's Camelot.
It's proto
Camelot.
Proto Golden Sun.
Yeah, it's proto Golden Sun, which Golden Sun is awesome. So if you want to play kind of like a shitty early version of what became Golden Sun, if you're a fan of that series, I think it's worth playing at least once. It's not that long, honestly. It's only long because it has one of the worst mechanics ever, which is your stat bonus. I mean, your stat bonuses are like totally random, but they can be gamed a little bit. And so if you want to have good stats, every time you're about to level up, you have to save the game, like go back to a town, don't fight anyone, run from everyone, save the game, go out, fight. If you don't get the stats you want, reload your save, go out, fight again, and keep like spamming it, because the end, if like you can literally just get unlucky and be high level and not be strong enough to beat the game. Like you have to game the system.
They don't have a Mr. Rossetti, is what you're saying.
So I would save state. Luckily, I found out that some games they'll take something, they'll load it, they'll decide like when the battle loads, like what's going to happen. But it rolls the RNG for your stats when you hit the text, when the text scrolls down, there's the cursor to click. It loads it right when you click. So on emulator, you can save it right before it tells you your stats. And then if it doesn't get you the stats, you just hit load, click, load, click, load, click, and it made the game actually playable. It's a terrible JRPG, but I have nostalgia for it because it was my first JRPG that I owned myself. I had friends that had JRPGs, but I could only play them at their house on the Super Nintendo or the Genesis. So I'd get like an hour or two, but I couldn't get through the whole game.
Yeah.
Beyond the Beyond, my first one, it's a terrible game. I can't reiterate that enough. But if you're just a hardcore JRPG nut, I think because it's Proto Golden Sun, it's worth checking out.
One of my favorite RPGs from like the PS1 era is the original Wild Arms.
That's good too.
That game is amazing. Like I love it because I love the Western theming of it. But one of my favorite things about it is its graphics, because it has two styles of graphics. It has these for the time 2D art for the overworld.
Ooh, farm.
But what I love about it is when you go into battle, the game becomes this. 1 second here. Where it's like super chibi and like completely different art style. And I just always loved how like drastic the trend. It's like the opposite of Final Fantasy, where like the overworld models are all like goofy looking, but then the in battle like stuff is realistic. In this, it's like the overworld stuff is somewhat nice, and then to go into battle and it's all like this.
Did you ever play Alundra?
I have played Alundra.
Because I think Alundra, as far as top-down graphics, like 2D graphics, is some of my favorite pixel work ever. Then there's like Breath of Fire 3 and 4, which I think have some of the best pixel work in maybe of all of gaming. Like there's some, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Suikoden 2 is another.
Suikoden 2 is a big one. As far, especially for unique animations, it gets a lot of praise for that. I have like a video. I just played the remasters, and I'm working on a video where I compile all the unique one-off animations that exist in Suikoden 1 and 2. There's so many.
It's such a cool game.
It's such a cool game. I also want to do a video on just the magic of PS1 sprites, because PS1 obviously ushered in 3D. It's known for that. That's when the 3D thing started. But I think the 2D stuff also went up a notch with that generation leap.
Oh, yeah.
Really good 2D stuff, but just, it just, in hindsight, it's not remembered as a 2D system. And yes, the Saturn was a better 2D system, and there was better stuff out there, but there are also games that did a really, like Strider 2 on the PS1. Fantastic 2D game.
One of my all-time favorite platform. Actually, I think it might actually be my all-time favorite platform of all time. Klonoa Door into Phantom Mile.
And Klonoa used like the Donkey Kong style sprites, right? Where they pre-rendered them.
So Klonoa was a really cool mix. It was, the entire world was 3D, but the sprite was pre-rendered 2.5D.
Yes.
And the way that the levels worked is you'd like move left to right, and the actual world would like curve around and move with the sprite. And it was just such a cool like look for the time. And unfortunately, that game is absurdly expensive these days, but just for the time, it was such a cool game.
That's a good one. I forgot about that one. There's another one. Gex 1.
That was like, that's a 3DO game.
It was originally a 3DO, right? First, and then it went to PS1.
It did later go to PS1. That is a cool side scroller because it actually incorporates the ideas of like playing as a gecko, where like you could stick to any surface and like climb up walls, and then they have pop culture references for no reason, because that was the style.
He speaking of wisecracking, shit talking kind of mascot thing going on in the 90s, he was definitely that.
Gex. So the Gex remasters came out recently. They remastered 1, 2, and 3, and I can't wait for all the people who've never experienced Gex before to play those games and just see that dated humor.
Okay, so I was pulling up this. I have a spreadsheet where I've been compiling all the PS1 games based on like traditional sprite work. Then you have like the CGI style Donkey Kong. And then I don't tell me if these are the right terms. And then I use the phrase digitized sprites. So digitized is like you take a camera, they film someone Mortal Kombat style, they break that down to a sprite. CGI sprites is the Donkey Kong style where they pre-render something.
Yes.
And the PS1 has lots of games from all of these, like a ton. They did less of the digitized sprite ones, but the CGI style one, there's one called Heart of Darkness that people don't talk a lot.
I love Heart of Darkness.
It looks like, I think that's my favorite of the CGI style. A lot of people would put Oddworld. Like they think
Oddworld is fun.
It's beautiful, but I think Heart of Darkness, at least visually.
So Heart of Darkness, I love Heart of Darkness because it's actually made by the same guy who he made Another World, or Beyond the Beyond, not Beyond the Beyond. I think it was Another World.
That's NES one, right?
Super Nintendo, Genesis, 3DO. It was on like everything. PC originally.
Yeah.
That game is super cool looking. I do love Oddworld though. Oddworld is just more of like a narrative thing.
It did have that cool graphical style as well. There's another one, a first-person shooter that uses that style called PO'd. Have you ever seen PO'd?
Yeah,
that's a 3DO game.
That's another 3DO game we've covered. Got a remaster recently by Night Dive Studios that makes the game playable.
Oh, Night Dive did PO'd? I didn't know that.
So we covered it on 3DO. It was it makes the game 100% playable now. Because the previous game kind of suffers from a lag in the controls because it was an old boomer shooter style game. that game is amazing because like the first enemy you encounter is literally an ass that walks around and farts at you.
Yeah.
And you play as a chef with a meat cleaver.
Yeah,
So
there's like that like 1990s raunchy, edgy, Beavis and Butthead kind of like, I don't know what you'd call it. Like even the artwork on PO that has that like like maybe the precursor to Adult Swim.
to a degree,
Like,
maybe.
yeah, I can see that a little bit. Night Dive did another one recently. Was a 3DO game.
Killing Time.
Killing Time. I bought that. It's a great remaster.
We haven't covered Killing Time yet for the show. We're saving that for I think Halloween, maybe.
Killing Time was one of those games when I saw the ads for it, I was a little jealous. I'm like, oh, do I want a 3DO? Because there was a game I think called Shockwave, Shockwave 1 and 2 on 3DO that I was really jealous of. The PS1 did not have. I mean, PS1 had Descent. No, not Descent. Was it Descent?
I think Descent was there, but there was also Colony Wars.
Colony Wars, yes. Yeah, so we got a little bit of that, but Shockwave was really cool too. I played that at the 3DO kiosk a lot. A lot of Shockwave.
I wish I could have experienced a 3DO kiosk. Because 3DO was basically dead by the time we were alive, me and Alex. They were a third-party company around then because they famously made the Army Men games.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember?
Those got big for a while.
They did, and then 3DO decided to release 20 of them in a year.
Why not?
It sent them to bankruptcy.
Oh,
do you not like money? Let's do 20.
What? Why is nobody buying them?
oh wait, no one's buying the console? What?
Well, the console was long dead by then. But
there's a 2D one. Did you play Gunstar Heroes on Genesis?
Yes.
So the closest thing to a Gunstar Heroes 2 is called Rapid Reload on PlayStation 1. I think it was Europe and Japan only. I don't know why it didn't come to North America, but it is just barely enough legally distinct Gunstar Heroes to not get sued. And it's awesome.
That's fun. Actually, I wanted to bring this up because I had mentioned it earlier, but going back to this thing right here.
Screen, yeah.
This thing is like the coolest thing in gaming that I wish they have unofficial versions of these for other consoles. But like Sony was like ahead of their time, like putting this one out because this was such a cool idea for the time.
That's the closest thing you could equivalent to it now is the Switch. That would be like the closest of like having the console, you can take it with you.
I guess the Nomad technically did it first, but
yes.
The PlayStation, this was a cool idea because when we got our PS2 in the house, I had got the screen and I kind of inherited this PlayStation 1 as my little PlayStation 1. And what was funny was this screen was kind of dangerous at times because when I was a child supposed to be going to bed for school in the morning, I would be up until 1 a.m. playing Final Fantasy VIII with this. And it was such a cool thing. Like you'd bring it camping with you. You could just have it set up like, anywhere.
We did have it. We brought it camping a lot. And even I remember like long road trips. Sometimes we'd have that in the car.
Yeah, because you had the
AC adapter, the car, whatever to plug it in.
The carport, which is just, it was one of those things where I feel like it was a gaming concept that was super cool, but was probably never going to sustain long enough to be a recurring thing. Oh man, anytime I see one of those though in public, I'm always like, that's cool. Like, I remember the nostalgia there.
I remember when those came out. I thought it was cool. I don't remember why I didn't get one. I mean, I already had the launch PS1, and you have to get the reworked PS1 for that. So there's just no, you can't. Mom, I need another same console so I can get a screen. Yeah. So I need money for all of that. It's like that. No, it's not happening.
You know what's really amusing about this version of the PlayStation 1? It was literally called PS1, but like rather than the one, it was literally just like spelled out one.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
That was a funny time. So this is actually a debate I've seen online. back in the day, like, did you call it PlayStation, PSX, PS1?
PSX.
See, PSX, I always wondered where that came from.
You know, I always refer to it as the PSX. And people will correct me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm probably wrong. My memory is, and I actually this World of Long Plays of Kelowna, I looked up. They call it PSX Long Play. Like, so I know I'm not the only one that refers to it as the PSX. There was PSX. Was it PSX? I had PSM and PSX magazine, I believe. There was a PSX magazine. Let me double check. Yes. I think PSX magazine was the one that would hire like different artists for the cover. Every artist. They would use like different comic book artists. It might have been PSM. Let me look it up. It was PSM. So I'm getting those two. I don't know. It looks like there isn't a PSX magazine. I don't know where it came from. I just know that that's what got installed in my brain.
It's just funny now because when
maybe
you say
a Mandela effect.
Well, it was a thing because it's like you see it all over the place. I just always wondered because like Sony would later actually make a system called the PSX, which was a Japan-only PlayStation 2 DVR hybrid.
Oh,
like I don't know.
Why not?
It only came out in Japan. It was a colossal failure. And apparently they're very hard to find functioning these days. But
okay, so I just asked our AI overlords.
Oh boy.
Sony's, it was an early code name for the PlayStation.
Oh, okay.
So even before release, magazines and trade shows would often refer to it as PSX because that's what the press and dev kits knew it as. Some official early promotional material in Japan also called it the PSX, but later in North America, it was never referred to officially in promotional material as the PSX. Later confusion, like you mentioned, with the real PSX 2003, which is a PS2 DVR hybrid. So it sounds like it was just a code name and some very early Japanese promotional material referred to it as PSX.
Gotcha.
Which is weird. I don't know why that would come to me because I was an American gamer. I wasn't importing games. I wasn't reading Japanese media, but somehow it stuck for me as in North America.
Rumors can fly.
Yeah.
We learned that through Webkins.
There's a killer in the game. Got that? Oh man, that just
sorry. But it did. Like that rumor like was like we thought it was just in our school and then it was all of the United States, I'd say. The Webkins killer.
Stuffed animal MMO. Oh man. Yeah, God, I love the PlayStation though. I still think to this day the most iconic startup for any console. Like I love like the famous like the white like diamond thing popping up and like all that stuff. Like there was always that like when you had a scratched game, there was always that like second of like fear.
Yes.
Where after the diamond, it would just like sit there for a minute before the PlayStation logo would pop up, and you'd be sitting there going like, "Come on,
is it gonna work? Is it gonna work?"
Let's go.
Barry, it's interesting that you say that. There's a lot of startup consoles or startup animations or sequences that do I think to me it's the most iconic. While you were saying that, I was trying to think of what I would say is number 2. I feel like the GameCube one is like really catchy.
GameCube's cool mostly because the Jaguar one is kind of cool. It just yells at you.
Yes.
I like the 3DO one personally because it's like a star field of like asteroids.
You're biased.
Fair. Dreamcast is a cool one.
Yeah, the Dreamcast one is cool. I would put that up there too. The spiral animation's cool.
Even PlayStation 2 is a cool one, especially if like you have like a damaged disc and it jump scares you with like the most horrific fucking screen of all time. Like the damaged disc screen is always like it because it just gets like all like red and like evil sounding, and I'm like, this is scary.
Similar to the Jaguar.
I don't know what the Jaguar one is.
It literally a spinning Jaguar cube pops up on the screen. It growls at you, and then a bunch of Atari letters pop down doing like old 8-bit sounds.
Yes, but when it doesn't work, Or you use the
Oh yeah, when your cartridge isn't working properly, the screen just goes red and it just growls at you.
Jaguar did saves on cartridges, right?
Yes, for the
So
cartridge games.
PlayStation was, I think, the first thing to use memory cards. That's something we didn't touch on.
The Neo Geo, I think, technically did it first, but like the PlayStation was the one that really popularized it.
What did the Neo Geo do? Like? Was it extra save?
So
Or-
the Neo Geo was kind of unique. It was you would save on the card, so you could take it from the AES console and then plug it into like one of the MVS arcade machines.
Oh yes,
So you could like
You're
take your
right.
save with you.
I do remember this.
It wasn't quite as advanced as say like the PlayStation memory card, which kind of became the standard. Because like there was those early PlayStation games that didn't have save, like you had a password screen instead.
Yes, very
Um,
early.
which I always remember being like annoyed by as a kid, because you'd have to like write down your passwords, and they were always the most obtuse things ever.
I'm looking at oh, I got the wrong thing. The other thing I have some notes to do on my spreadsheet. I did wanted to bring up. Oh, we didn't talk about this.
Mhm.
We talked about this on Generations, but how the PS1 came to be.
Oh yeah, it was
It's basically like a sound chip initially for the Super Nintendo. If you want to go back,
I guess we could touch on that right at the end here. The origins of the PlayStation is like one of the most like the pettiest as fuck things in gaming history, but it's also one of the greatest stories of all time, where Sony started a partnership with Nintendo making the sound cards for the Super Nintendo, which one of the best sound cards in video game history. Eventually the CD technology starts coming around, and Nintendo wants to get in on the CD market, so they partner with Sony to make a CD add-on for the Super Nintendo at the time, because Sega had the Sega CD, TurboGrafx had the TurboGrafx CD. CDs looked like they were going to be the future of gaming. Well, Nintendo was super excited to do this. They didn't actually read their contract, and Sony, being the company that they've always been, basically wrote the contract so that like Nintendo wouldn't get anything for the PlayStation like CD games, like the Nintendo. So basically they would have these games on their system and they would get like basically nothing for the games. Because Sony was sneaky and made this contract. And Nintendo did not like that. And of course, rather than doing the smart thing and renegotiating the contract, they decided to go behind Sony's back and partner with Philips to make a CD add-on with them instead. So then Sony goes on stage and presents the Nintendo PlayStation, and Nintendo then goes up on stage and basically says, "Don't listen to them. That's not happening. We're actually working with Philips." Embarrasses them on stage, and then
which in Japanese culture, by the way, is like a bigger deal than it would be. I mean, it's a big deal, but in their culture, it's a bigger deal. Like this was, like the publicly shame. It was wild.
Nintendo thought they were invincible. Like they thought they could get away with doing this. They didn't think Sony would actually fight back. And of course, but then they also didn't take into account Ken Kutaragi, basically the guy who was the founder of PlayStation and really kind of created it. They didn't expect him to be a petty little bitch about it. Because he immediately goes to the head of Sony at the time and he's like, "We're not going to let them get away with this. We're going to make our own system and we're basically going to destroy them." So the PlayStation kind of ends up becoming, it's weird. The PlayStation originally was supposed to be like a system that could still play Super Nintendo games at one point.
Yep.
And then they got rid of that because they're like, "No, this is dumb." What's funny is Nintendo actually owned the trademark to PlayStation at the time, but it was like PlayStation with a space in the middle. So they got rid of the space.
I did not know that.
That suddenly made it okay. But yeah, the PlayStation obviously comes out, and what's funny is Nintendo never ended up releasing the system with Philips. But because of the deal they had with Philips, that's how Philips got the okay to release Nintendo games on their CDI system console thing.
And that's where we get that weird Zelda.
That's where we get the Hotel Mario and the Zelda games. And of course, they got no CD add-on. This is also why Nintendo has like the other like ramification of this is why Nintendo had like this aversion to CDs for so long. Like they wouldn't do CDs on the N64 because they had like a CD bias, and because of that, they lost so many major developers, including notably Square, who went to PlayStation and made Final Fantasy VII. During the GBA era, they couldn't use the Super Nintendo sound card because Sony owned it, so they had to use a new sound card.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, because Sony owned the rights to it. Sony basically was like, "Oh, you can use it, but you have to pay a
ton of money,
ridiculous fee." So Nintendo had to make their own new card, which isn't as good, but it's also not as bad as some people say it is. And then, of course, the biggest ramification was they created literally their biggest rival, who took over the video game industry for like 2 decades.
Yeah, and Nintendo's having a little bit of a renaissance right now with the Switch.
It's ironic that they went back to cartridges for their big renaissance.
Yeah, that is ironic. Yeah,
it's kind of funny, but nowadays it works. But Nintendo is kind of just they found their niche. I will say though, like one of my favorite parts about PlayStation versus Nintendo during this era was like the shit talking ads. Like my favorite ad of all time is the Crash Bandicoot ad with the guy.
Oh, where he's yelling at the headquarters.
Yeah.
It's
for Alex, it's a guy in a Crash suit, and he's just standing in front of a building that's supposed to be Nintendo HQ, and he's just shit talking them with a megaphone.
I think I've seen that before.
It's just like one of those eras. It's like an era that just doesn't exist anymore because the console wars just aren't a thing anymore.
Yeah, no.
I mean, we're getting Xbox games on PlayStation now, which is just insane to me, and PlayStation games on Xbox. Like, it's bizarre. Trying to think any other minor details. I mean, obviously we mentioned earlier how Sony basically embarrassed Sega and started the slow downfall of Sega with the Saturn launch and the famous $299 speech. It's also interesting too because the PlayStation didn't look like it was going to be a big seller when it first came out.
No, I did. Like I said, I got it really early. It's hard to describe. It felt like similar to the 3DO, like because you have to understand back then video games were Sega and Nintendo. That's it, at least in North America. And then you had these weird like this, and I don't know if it was CDI or 3DO, but there was this period of time where they had these big discs, and we would
laser discs.
Yeah, we sometimes use them in school, and I remember seeing like some prototype like video game system on a laser disc in a school computer lab, and it was like a point and click kind of like Day of the Tentacle adventure. I forget what it was, but I was like, oh, they're building like different things. And I just I saw the PlayStation, and I remember thinking like, oh, this is cool, but there's no replacing the new Sega or the new Nintendo is going to be the coolest, but I want this PlayStation. But I viewed it as like a tier below for sure.
Yeah. Nah. We're coming up to 2 hours now, so I figure now would be the best time to wrap it up. Yeah, the PlayStation was just such an awesome system, but I want to say I just want to thank Kade for coming on today, dude. This was a really good talk.
No, thank you.
Yeah. Hopefully we can stay in touch better this time. Unfortunately,
sure.
Life gets in the way and stuff like that. But I guess before we sign off, do you want to like shout out all your projects you're working on?
Yeah, Gaming Memories. Just Google that. I did not master plan my brand, so the handle Gaming Memories was not available on all the different platforms. So sometimes it's Gaming Memories Pod, sometimes it's Gaming. I don't even know, but just Google Gaming Memories. YouTube content is what I'm working on the most. It's more in-depth emulator stuff, indie ROM hacks, community translations, fan translations. Like I like to cover that kind of stuff. And then on social media, it's really the same stuff, just shorter. And then very rarely, I will put out a podcast episode.
Nice. Yeah. And if you want to hear me and Alex from like 4 years ago, you can find our episode on there.
Yeah.
And Bill's
we were
also
just
on.
Starting out.
Bill's on 2 other episodes. I don't know what numbers they are, with Chris from Retro Hangover, and we basically start like from the beginning. Like what was the Tennis for Two is widely considered the first video game. We start on Tennis for Two, and then we got all the way up to like the Wii, I think.
I think we got to the end of the 5th generation. I don't think we ended up getting to like PS2 or anything yet.
Yeah, we didn't. We still have to do one more, I guess, technically to finish it out. But Bill's on. Alex is on 1 episode. Bill's on 3.
Actually 4, because I did my solo episode too.
Oh, you did a solo one?
Yeah,
you did a solo one first, and then you both came on, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because the solo one is what inspired me to start doing podcasts. That and Alex is pestering.
Yeah.
Well, you guys have done a lot better than me when it comes to podcasting. You guys have been super consistent.
It's mostly Bill. Keeping us consistent.
I'm kind of out of control with it. Like I do all the different shows, which is funny because the 3DO I tried to do initially, and then like I stopped for a while because it was hard to do by myself, and then I got my co-host, and my co-host kind of reached out and decided to hop on, and we've been going ever since.
How many more games do you have left?
There's like over 200 or so 3DO games in the entire library, including imports. So we're slowly working our way through. We actually have episode 100s coming out next week. But we don't cover a game every episode. Sometimes we cover specific companies that were big, like big players on 3DO. Like we did a whole EA episode, Crystal Dynamics, like stuff like that. And then sometimes, like for episode 100, we're going to actually tier list all the games we've covered, and do some Q&As, which will be fun. But that's a project that's probably going to go on for a couple more years, hopefully. I mean, it's been a lot of fun. Like we had Alex on a few weeks ago to talk about a Japan-only Sailor Moon game.
Yeah, which is fun.
Did you play on it? What do you emulate these Japan only, or can you get them to work on a 3DO?
The 3DO is actually region free, so I actually found that game at a convention last year, and me and Alex had played it for a little bit. Mm-hmm. It's not good. I'll say that now. But it's kind of cool. It exists.
Yeah.
But
I gotta try more 3DO. The last time I tried to emulate some 3DO stuff, it wasn't great.
4DO has gotten better.
It's gotten better because this is a console that I'm not interested enough in it yet to go out and buy one and get the games. But occasionally be like, I want to try some 3DO games, and then I would pick up 4DO or whatever it was at the time. There'd be a bunch of problems. I'm like, I'll just come back to it later. So I need to try it again because there's a lot of stuff on 3DO that did interest me at the time.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it's worth looking into, but that's why I started to show on it, because I'm a psycho like that. But yeah, anyways, I guess now is a good enough time to wrap it up. Kade, once again, thank you for joining us. This was
thank you so much.
Sorry I talked so much.
No worries.
That's the point of having a guest, making them talk instead of us.
one of our best episodes ever is we had Josh from Still Loading on, and we talked about Stardew Valley, and him and Alex just took over the show.
I didn't know he was into. I didn't know he was that into Stardew Valley.
No, it's actually a big game for him. We found out.
Yeah.
Josh is actually, I think, one of our best friends. Like we actually met him in person at a convention. He came up here.
Nice.
Yep.
I like that dude. He's also, shout out to Still Loading Podcast. If you haven't checked them out, he's awesome.
Super sweet guy. I love Josh.
But only if he doesn't slander Krobus anymore. You can only shout him out if he's a Krobus fan. If he's still slandering Krobus, no shout out.
But anyways, guys, once again, thank you for joining us on the Gaming and Collecting Podcast. You can find the Gaming and Collecting Podcast on all the major podcasting platforms, particularly Apple Podcast and Spotify. And be sure to check us out over on the Superpod Network. That is superpodnetwork.com. Awesome site where you can find a whole bunch of different podcasts, videos, blogs. We do a monthly segment called Super Game Club where we play a different game every week. And this week's current game is Dragon Ball Z Legacy of Goku 2. So be sure to check that out. And yeah, once again, guys, thank you for joining us, and we will see you all later.